Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cha Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Krsna book, chapter 87, prayers by the personified Vedas. So continuing with Prabhupada's commentary. So yesterday, Prabhupada talked a lot about Mayavadi. Whenever the topic of Mayavadi or Mayavadi philosophy comes in, he really gives long purports just to make sure we understand what kind of philosophy we should not be getting confused with or distracted by. So now he says, the example given by the Mayavadi philosophers that inanimate matter like nails and hair comes from the living body is not a very sound argument. Nails and hair are undoubtedly inanimate, but they come not from the animate living being, but from the inanimate material body. So means hair, nails and hair. Mayavadis argue, see, nails and hair are growing on our body. And you're saying nothing material comes from spiritual. But the soul is there because of the soul. The nail and hair are growing. But nails and hair are not growing because of the soul. They are growing on the body. Just like our teeth function or so many organs inside the body function. Yes, they function because the soul is there in the body, but soul has no direct connection with all the organs. We are talking, so tongue is moving. Tongue is moving because the soul is there. Yes, but the tongue has no direct connection with the soul. So this logic does not make sense at all. Similarly, the argument that the scorpion comes from cow dung, meaning that a living entity comes from matter, is also unsound. The scorpion which comes out of the cow dung is certainly a living entity, but the living entity does not come out of the cow dung. The eggs were laid by mother scorpion in the cow dung, that's all. Only the living entity's material body or the body of the scorpion comes out of the cow dung. The sparks of the living entities, as we understand from the Bhagavad Gita, are injected into material nature and then they come out. So just like we took birth from mother's womb. But soul does not come from the mother's womb. Soul is injected through the semen of the father in the womb of the mother, and somehow in the womb of the mother, all the ingredients for the body, they put around the soul, and the shape of the body is formed not by mother. Mother is not doing anything. Mother is somehow just protecting the embryo in the womb. That's all. Everything is taken care of by Krishna's energies. The body of the living entity in different forms is supplied by material nature, but the living entity himself is supplied by the Supreme Lord. The father and mother give the body necessary for the living entity under certain conditions. The living entity transmigrates from one body to another according to his different desires, which in the subtle form of intelligence, mind and false ego accompany him from body to body. By superior arrangement, the living entity is put into the womb of a certain type of material body. Then he develops a similar body, similar gross body. Subtle body goes with the soul, and then he develops a similar gross body. Therefore, the spirit soul is not produced from matter. It takes on a particular type of body under superior arrangement. According to our present experience, this material body is a combination of matter and spirit. The spirit is moving the matter. The spirit soul, the living entity, and matter are different energies of the Supreme Lord. And since both the energies are products of the Supreme Eternal or the Supreme Truth, they are factual, not false. Because the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme, he exists eternally. Therefore, for him, there cannot be any question of birth or death. So-called birth and death occur because of the material body. The Vedic version, Sarvam Khalam Idam Brahma, means that since both the energies have emanated from the Supreme Brahman, everything we experience is non-different from Brahman. But yes, everything we experience is energy of Brahman or energy of Krishna, who's Parabrahman. But we are not Krishna. They also use this word, Sarvam Khalam Idam Brahma. Whatever we see is Brahman. That doesn't mean we are Krishna, we are God. He is Parabrahman. He is the supreme spiritual. There are many arguments about the existence of this material world, but the Vaishnava philosophical conclusion is the best. The example of the earthen pot is very suitable. The form of the earthen pot may be temporary, but it has a specific purpose. The purpose of the earthen pot is to carry water from one place to another. Similarly, this material body, although temporary, has a special use. The living entity is given a chance from the beginning of the creation to evolve different kinds of material bodies according to the reserve desires he has accumulated from time immemorial. The living entity is given a chance from the beginning of the creation to evolve different kinds of bodies according to reserve desires. Reserved means the unfulfilled desires he has accumulated since time immemorial. The human form of body is a special chance in which the developed form of consciousness can be utilized. So somehow or other, we have come to this human form. So desires will still be there. So our job is, our duty is our responsibility is to increase spiritual desires and reduce material desires. That's all. So as much as we can do, we have to increase the spiritual desires. So even if we have to, if we don't finish the whole process and we have to take material body again, then there are so many spiritual desires to be fulfilled that Krishna makes sure that we start bhakti from the very beginning of our lives. So we have only spiritual desires, that's all. Sometimes a Mayavadi philosopher, again Prabhupada is talking about Mayavadi philosophy. Sometimes the Mayavadi philosophers push forward the argument that if this material world is truth, then why are householders advised to give up their connection with this material world and take sannyas? But the Vaishnava philosopher's view of sannyas is not that because the world is false, one must therefore give up material activities. The purpose of Vaishnava sannyas is to utilize things as they are intended to be utilized. So sannyas doesn't mean because the world is false, I'm giving it up. It doesn't belong to us to begin with. So how can we give it up? It's not ours. Srila Rupa Goswami has given transcendentalists two formulas for dealing with this material world. When a Vaishnava renounces the materialistic way of life and takes to sannyas, it is not on the conception of the falsity of the material world, but to devote himself fully to engage everything in the service of the Lord. That is the whole purpose of taking sannyas. So I can use everything in the service of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore gives this formula. One should be unattached to the material world because material attachment is meaningless. So not giving up the material world, but getting unattached or detached. The entire material world, the entire cosmic manifestation belongs to God, Krishna. Therefore, everything should be utilized for Krishna. And the devotee should remain unattached to material things. And their only attachment is that I need to use it in the service of Krishna. This is the purpose of Vaishnava sannyas. A materialist sticks to the world for sense gratification. But a Vaishnava sannyasi, although not accepting anything for his personal sense gratification, knows the art of utilizing everything for the service of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore criticized the Mayavadi sannyasis with the second formula. Because the Mayavadis do not know that everything has a utilization for the service of the Lord, they take the world to be false and falsely think they are liberated from the contamination of the material world. But the problem in this thinking is the desire to enjoy still remains because the desire is so deep rooted that it doesn't go away. But in Vaishnava philosophy, when we use everything in the service of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord, that means even if the desire is there, slowly, it will go away. Since everything is an expansion of the energy of the Lord, the expansions are real as the Supreme Lord is. So all we have to do, because everything belongs to the Lord, just like if we have a plot and we want to build a house. So to build a house, we hire a contractor, and suppose nowadays we give the whole contract. You buy everything according to our specifications, and we pay you, and that's it. Suppose we buy all the material, iron and cement and sand and wood and whatever is required in the house. So after he builds the house, the contractor says, well, this house, I built it, it belongs to me. There'll be court case, there'll be fight. So the house belongs to the person who gave the ingredients and who paid the contractor for his labor. So this material world, or even the body that we have, all the ingredients are given by the Lord. Krishna himself says, Bhumi rapo analo vayu kam mano buddhi revacha ahankar ityam me bhinna prakriti rashtata. These are my 8 separated energies. So this body that all the elements Krishna has given, so actually it belongs to Krishna. So it should be used in the service of Krishna. Not that I think that this is false. Even if I think this is false, I cannot, the soul cannot just leave the body and renounce it. I still need the body. To do anything, to do any activity, I need the body. So that is where the Mayavadi philosophy doesn't make sense at all. That the cosmic world is only temporarily manifested does not mean that it is false or that the source of its manifestation is false. Since the source of its manifestation is truth, the manifestation is also truth. But one must know how to utilize it. The example of the earthen pot may be cited again. The earthen pot produced from the whole earth is temporary. But when used for a proper purpose, the earthen pot is not false. Vaishnava philosophers know how to utilize the temporary construction of this material world, just as a sane man knows how to utilize a temporary construction of the earthen pot. When the earthen pot is used for a wrong purpose, that is false. Similarly, the human body or the material world, when used for sense gratification, is false. But if the human body and the material creation are used for the service of the Supreme Lord, their activities are never false. Although from one angle, both the activities look the same. Suppose I'm using this body to make money, to cook food, to eat, to build a house, to live in the house. And same body is used to cook bhoga for the Lord, to eat prasadam, to make money so that it can be used in Krishna service, to build a temple for the Lord, to live in the temple. Activity is the same, but the consciousness is different. So when the consciousness is, oh, I'm doing everything for my enjoyment, that is false. That is wrong. It is therefore confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that even slightly using the body and the material world for the service of the Lord can deliver a person from the gravest danger. So what is the gravest danger? The gravest danger for a person in human form of the body is not that I'm going to die. Everybody is going to die. Even devotees, non-devotees, everybody is going to die. But the gravest danger is I should not go down to lower species of life where I cannot serve the Lord. So this is what Prabhupada says, even slightly using the body and the material world for the service of the Lord can deliver a person from the gravest danger. At least he will not go down to lower species of life. He will be given another chance next life. When properly utilized, neither the superior nor inferior energies emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are false. So they both are real. Superior is the soul, inferior is the material energy. As far as fruitive activities are concerned, they are mainly based on the platform of sense gratification. Therefore, an advanced Krishna conscious person does not take to them. The result of fruitive activities can elevate one to the higher planetary system. But as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, foolish persons, after exhausting the results of their pious activities in the heavenly kingdom, come back again to this lower planetary system and then again try to go to the higher planetary system. So they do pious activities, go to the heavenly planets, and bank balance of pious activities is over, come down again do pious activities, again go to heavenly planet, again come down. So it's just a wastage of time and energy. Their only profit is to take the trouble of going and coming back. Just as at present many material scientists are spoiling their time by trying to go to the moon planet and again coming back. So at that time, 1960s, it was a big deal going to the moon and first man on the moon and first Neil Armstrong. Of course, it was a hoax. But so much of time and money and energy was wasted in all this effort. For what? And in the end, just come back. Why? Those who are engaged in fruitive activities are described by the Vedas personified as Andha Parambara, or blind followers of the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Although such ceremonies are certainly mentioned in the Vedas, they are not meant for the intelligent class of men. Men who are too much attached to material enjoyment are captivated by the prospect of being elevated to the higher planetary system, and so they take to such ritualistic activities. So men who are too attached to material enjoyment are captivated by the prospect of being elevated to higher planetary system. So it's just better kind of sense gratification available there. But persons who are intelligent, who have taken shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, to see things as they are, do not take to fruitive activities, but engage themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Because then they understand, why should I aspire for something temporary again? I've done enough of this temporary business. Persons who are not devotees take to the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies for materialistic reasons, and then they are bewildered. A vivid example may be given. An intelligent person possessing $1 million in currency notes does not hold the money without using it, even though he knows perfectly well that the currency notes in themselves are nothing but paper. When one has $1 million in currency notes, he's actually holding only a huge bunch of papers. But if he utilizes it for a purpose, then he benefits. Similarly, although this material world may be false, just like the paper, it has its proper beneficial utilization. Because the currency notes, all the paper are issued by the government, they have full value. Similarly, this material world may be false or temporary, but because it is an emanation from the Supreme Lord, it has its full value. The Vaishnava philosophers acknowledge the full value of this material world and know how to utilize it properly, whereas the Mayavadi philosophers fail to do so, just as those who mistake a currency note for ordinary paper discard it and cannot utilize the money. So, nice example. So, currency notes are there, and Prabhupada says somebody has $1 million, and if he's intelligent, he'll utilize it to make more money. But Mayavadis, they might say, oh, this is false. This is only paper, piece of paper. This is false, reject it. But this is not the proper utilization of the money. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore declares that if one rejects this material world as false, not considering the importance of this material world as a means to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such a renunciation has very little value. Very little value. A person who knows the intrinsic value of this material world for the service of the Lord, who's not attached to the material world and who renounces the material world by not accepting it for sense gratification is situated in real renunciation. So that is real sannyas, real renunciation. This material world is an expansion of the material energy of the Lord. Therefore, it is real. It's not false, as sometimes concluded from the example of the snake and the rope. So, wonderful explanations by Srila Prabhupada, very heavy explanations. So, we just have to understand it and apply it on ourselves. So, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this at the beginning of the class you mentioned about nails and hairs. It grows because of. I mean, there is a difference between the knowledge which Mayavadi has and what we think of, right? So we do understand it is the hair and the nails are raising because of the Chetana, or what we call it, the Atma is there inside, but it's a part of the body. It's not part of the soul. This is what you said, right? And
Yeah.
but Mayavadi believes in that because the soul is there, that's why it's growing, and they do not involve this knowledge in between, that it's not because of the body. So it's a lot of confusion is there actually.
So they
It's
say,
something.
okay, listen,
Hmm.
Mayavadi say nail and hair are dead matter, inanimate, but they're coming from animate soul. Oh, they're coming from, yeah, they're coming from soul. So they're saying is animate and inanimate, they just go back and forth. Just like scorpion coming from cow dung. Scorpion is not coming from the cow dung. It just mother scorpion has laid the eggs in the cow dung, and that's where the scorpions are getting the body from. Similarly, hair, nails and hair are not growing from the soul, they're growing from the body. But they mix the two things. And they say everything is one. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Chalo, so we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare